Hi everybody, welcome to the first video in part 2 of our animation series. In this video we're going to look at how to make our characters come alive in our animation to add a little bit more entertainment for the viewer. Here we've got a small example. We've got a boat here which has smoke rising from its chimney. Notice that this little animation is constantly repeating. That smoke is constantly rising and then starting again, and that's the animation for the boat. We also have a sea creature here. I'm not entirely sure what it is. It looks like a tadpole to me. And if you look at it closely, you can see that it's blinking. And that's all it's doing. Okay, it is moving, but it's constantly blinking. So in today's video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a blinking fish and how to make a boat that constantly has smoke coming from the chimney, and how to put those two characters into our animation. So I've already started working on the scene. I'm in scene 1. I've created a river, and now I'm going to add a new layer where I'm going to add my fish. Now my fish is a little bit complicated. It's a blinking fish. I'm going to show you how to create a blinking fish using Flash's design tools. The first thing I'm going to do is go to the library, and I'm going to create a new symbol. And this symbol is going to be fish. I am now inside the fish symbols design area. And as we can see, the fish has its own timeline, which is currently empty. Notice that scene 1 also has its own timeline, and it currently has a river, and I'm getting ready to add the fish. I haven't done that yet, because at the moment, in my library, if I double click on this, I'm designing the fish, and I haven't finished that yet. So let's do that. Just going to create this. I'm going to remove the stroke. I'm going to change the color to green. And I'm going to just stretch out the tail. Brilliant. So this is the body of the fish. Now I'm going to make a new layer called mouth. And on this new layer, let's just lock body. On the mouth layer, I'm just going to create a very simple curved line. And I'm going to make a new layer called eye. And the eye is just a very simple black circle with, I'm going to have no stroke, just a black fill on the circle. And there's my eye. Body, mouth, eye. Please note the way that I'm constructing each element of the character on a new layer. That's very important. And it will take you, as a beginner, quite a bit of practice to figure out what needs to go on its own layer. So let's start with simple characters. Now we know, I'm just going to lock the mouth, we know that the eye blinks. So on the eye layer, I'm going to do F6, and I'm going to change the shape of the eye. Something like that. So the eye is blinking. We now have a blinking fish. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Good. Back to scene 1. On that fish layer, I haven't got anything yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the library, and I'm going to drag my blinking fish into my movie. I'm going to resize it, and I'm going to drag it into the river. And now, in scene 1, let's just animate my fish. Okay, so I'm just F6. I'm just using the arrow keys on my keyboard. Try and do this as quickly as I can. It always takes time. There is a quicker way of doing this, by the way, guys, but I'm not going to tell you about that just yet. We'll study that later in this tutorial series. But anyway, I'm moving the fish, across the bottom of the stage, what happened to the river? As you can see, the fish occupies about 22 frames of animation space, and the river occupies only one frame, the first frame. I want it to occupy 22 frames. Now the river isn't changing, nothing's changing. So I'm not going to press F6 here, I'm going to press F5. And that just allows the river stuff to fill this period of time in the animation. I just pressed F5 to do that. Now if I test my movie, Control Enter. Ooh, it's very quick, isn't it? Let's just modify the document. Just going to cut that down to maybe, let's halve it to 12 frames per second, and Control Enter. It's still pretty quick. Let's just slow that even more down. Modify document. Going to make it 4 frames per second. Control Enter. And there we've got the blinking fish. Okay. Let me just show you another weird thing, by the way. I'm just going to remove all of those frames. So now we only have 1 frame of fish and 1 frame of river. Now if I do Control Enter, there's my blinking fish. Even though the movie is 1 frame long, this fish animation loops. It's playing all the time. I'm not happy that the fish eye is very quickly blinking. So let's go into the library, into fish, just mess around with this. I'm going to have a little bit more space between the open eye and the closed eye. I'm just going to drag this frame out. The mouth and the body don't change, so I'm just going to come to the end frame here and do F5. Nothing changes, but we need to see it. We need to see the mouth and the body. And now let's go back to scene 1. Control Enter. And that slows down the eye. In fact, if we just open that again and Control Enter, we can see what's happening here. Open, 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 closed. Open, 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 closed. It closes just for 1 frame. Close, open. Close, open. Close, open. Okay? If I want to keep it closed for a few more frames, I can just come across the timeline, select a frame, F5. This closed eye is not changing now. I just want it to stay closed. So F5 on the mouth and body layer. F5. Nothing's changing. The only change is here, look. If we look at the timeline, the only thing that's changing is here, when the eye becomes small. Everything is fine, 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 nothing changes, and then here the eye goes small and it stays small. And then it loops back to the beginning. Control Enter. That's what we've got now, the blinking fish. So if you're happy with that idea, you can stop the video right now and see if you can make your own animation with a character that has some kind of animation within the character. Within the fish, we have a blinking eye. Okay, if you want to copy this video, please do so. I'm going to continue for 2 or 3 more minutes and show you how to make the chimney smoke from the boat. Okay, up to you. Alright, if you're continuing, I'm going to go back to scene 1. I'm going to make a new layer and I'm going to call it boat. I'm going to go to my library. I'm going to make a new symbol called boat. I'm going to draw my boat. Very simple shapes to make my boat. I'll try